As the summer days get hotter, many tenants wonder if their landlord is required to provide them with air conditioning. At least in the state of Tennessee, the answer to that is no. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. Alright, so I have an interesting topic to be covering today, and it has to do with air conditioning for tenants. Now, obviously, it is hot outside in a lot of the country, okay? It is summertime, the temperatures are rising, and hey, when the air conditioning breaks down, the tenants begin to wonder, hey, does the landlord, do they have to get this thing fixed as soon as possible? And in some states, yes, it is required. In other states, not so much. And in some places, well, it's a little bit fuzzy, and you have to figure out what your specific state says in terms of, the landlord tenant laws. So I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, the way it should be is what I think, but I say follow the law first of all, and I'm going to tell you what my opinion of the laws are. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button. Maybe leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think, okay? Do you think a landlord should have to provide their tenant with air conditioning? Okay, now it's an important thing because in my opinion, I do believe that landlords should provide their tenants with air conditioning. I think all good landlords are doing that, right? What I don't want though is for the landlord to be forced by the government to provide it. Okay, that's what I don't like. I don't like the fact that, hey, the government steps in and they start making a mandate, and each situation can be very different. So for example, what you can say is, hey, I'm renting out this house by the bedroom, so now am I required to provide a window unit to every single room in the house, especially when the house already has a central air conditioning unit? I don't know. I don't know how, the policies exactly work from state to state. I don't know what the, maximum or minimum temperatures, allowed in the house are. I know that some states are much more sticklers about the issue than other states, but I think that a lot of it should be left up to the landlord's discretion. And, I'm not saying that landlords should be pulling bait and switch, but I'm saying that, hey, you're the property owner, and if a tenant agrees to move into a place for a lower rent because it does not have air conditioning, and then they decide to put their own window unit in, well, that's on the tenant, okay? Anyway, before I get into the article, I'm going to be going over the landlord-tenant law here in Nebraska, because, it's an interesting thing what it says here in Nebraska state law. So I'm going to just skip right down to the important information, right? And I'm getting this information from law.unl.edu, and that's the University of Nebraska in Lincoln. And it says, your landlord has the responsibility under the law to, and then we'll go, it says, number one, keep the premises in a fit and habitable condition. 2, keep all common areas of the premises in a safe and clean condition. And 3, and this is the important one, maintain in good working order all electrical, plumbing, sanitary, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and other systems or appliances supplied by the landlord. So reading that, right, it almost seems to be saying, well, the landlord has to be providing air conditioning, right? And then you get to the bottom part here where it says, and other systems or appliances supplied by the landlord, right? So if you, originally, supplied air conditioner inside your unit, then you need to keep it maintained, okay? Basically, if you rented the place to the tenant with air conditioning in it, then you've basically made the promise that, hey, this is an air conditioned unit. So you have to make sure that it's repaired and in working order for the tenant. That's what I'm getting from this law. I'm not a lawyer, okay? But that's what I seem to understand. Now, if you did not provide air conditioning with this unit and you rented it out to this tenant, then the tenant should not have an expectation of suddenly you providing air conditioning for them. Okay, and I make it pretty clear in my lease that, all of the appliances, all of the, things that I am providing for my tenants. And, that includes, I do have houses with central air conditioning in them that also have window units for the upstairs bedrooms because they're older houses and the central air can't keep those upstairs bedrooms cool. So I provide window units in those houses that I own. Okay, so if I hadn't provided those window units, guess what? The tenants wouldn't suddenly have a right to them. I could easily have just said, no, I'm not giving you any more. But then, that isn't what I agreed to. And if one of those window units breaks, guess what? I am responsible for making sure that is repaired. So that's the law here in Nebraska, but the article I'm going to be covering today is actually out of the state of Tennessee, and it says, Tennessee renters don't have a right to air conditioning, and it's coming from Fox 13 Memphis. And I'm going to be playing a little bit of a video to go along with this article before I get started.
That's right, Daryl. This is your standard Tennessee lease agreement. It covers rent, utilities, your security deposit, but Tennessee law does not require your lease to guarantee air conditioning. The window unit is blasting in this Raleigh apartment. That's because the man who lives here said he hasn't had air conditioning since last Friday.
I pay rent on time. I've been doing it for 3 years now.
He asked not to be identified because he doesn't want his landlord to punish him for talking to us. Why do you deserve air conditioning as someone who pays rent?
It's hot outside. I think everybody needs air right now.
Okay, so you saw the video. Now let's get into this article. In this sweltering hot weather, Tennessee law doesn't require landlords to provide air conditioning to tenants. It's a bit of a gray area, explained attorney Michael Working. It depends on the judge you're in front of about whether or not that's essential. Tennessee's Uniform Residential Landlord-Tenant Act requires a landlord to provide essential services like water, gas, and other utilities. However, the law does not specifically define AC as essential. Working wants lawmakers to change that. Doesn't surprise me that they want that to change, okay? But I do have a gripe whenever the government comes in and starts mandating that landlords, they have to provide A, B, C, D, E. Well, guess what? That will affect the affordability of housing. Now, obviously, like I said, as a landlord, I'm trying to provide the best quality housing possible. So I am providing air conditioning in every single unit that I own. However, I will say this, okay? If you are, let's say you're providing a very low income housing, okay, and you're trying to get people in there and give them the lowest possible rent so that they are not living in their car or on the street, well, you might not have air conditioning as an option. They might have to just suffer a little bit and in the heat, open that window up, or maybe they have a box fan or whatever, but that's what they have to deal with so that they can have the lowest possible rent. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that that's a great strategy, but I've heard that's why a lot of people don't offer the air conditioning, because these are very, very low income rentals that they have. I think it goes without saying that air conditioning with a heat index of 114 is essential, Working said. One Raleigh resident contacted Fox 13's reporter, Kate Bieri, desperate for help after he said he lost air conditioning last Friday. I pay rent on time, and I've been doing it for 3 years now, he said. I think everybody needs air right now. The resident did not want to be identified because he worried his landlord would punish him for talking to Fox 13. Well, give your landlord a couple of days in order to get it fixed, okay? A lot of the times we are talking about, hey, our contractor, our people, they take a couple of days to get out there and actually do the repairs. So your air conditioner went out. Hopefully you reported it to your landlord immediately, because I know a lot of the times you'll have problems and the tenants won't even tell the landlords about these issues, okay? And if the landlord isn't able to get it repaired in a short amount of time, a lot of the times they will come in and say, hey, listen, I got this window unit for you, until they can get the parts or, the technician out here to look at the air conditioning, the central air. I've got a window unit for you just temporarily. But that doesn't mean the landlord isn't on the ball and doing everything they're supposed to be doing. That just means that you're a whiner and you're complaining because, things aren't happening in your timetable. Hey, this is the real world here. It takes time to get things done. Okay, if you own the house, you would actually understand this. But that's what a lot of the renters, they think that, we should be bending over backwards, and doing things that, I sent an air conditioning repairman out in the middle of the night. Like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. Okay. However, he was shocked to learn that air conditioning is not an explicit guarantee under the law. I have asthma and I'm just going to stay as cool as possible, he said. Working reminded all renters to document their complaint with their landlord in writing. If you don't document it in writing in Tennessee, you don't have a case, he said. Well, let's hope that the landlord is getting, doing everything they can to get this repaired. And, there's just other factors involved. Okay. When you're talking about the air conditioner going out, I've had this happen before. And sometimes you have to replace the entire thing. And it costs thousands of dollars. So imagine here you are, you're this landlord, your air conditioner goes out and it's going to cost thousands of dollars to get it fixed. Are you going to get more than one bid? I know I am. I got 3 bids the last time I had a central air conditioning unit go out. And fortunately, because I did that, it cost thousands of dollars less than it would have from the very first bid that I got. So, I'm hoping that the landlord who is doing this work, it might take a day or two longer, but could save thousands of dollars versus, just going with the first bid, trying to hurry up and get everything done. So, a little bit sucky for you as the tenant, right? But be aware that, hey, everything is not instant and landlords are doing the best that we can in most situations. We're not trying to have people sweat it out in 114-degree heat. That's not how we get paid, okay? We get paid when everything is working and functional within our units. So we're not the bad guys. Anyway, like I said, I don't agree with them saying it should be mandated, but I do think that landlords should provide air conditioning for their tenants.